Hello there. Yesterday I played another Leech's 45-45 Lone Wolf League game, and unfortunately it was a very short game, only 14 moves, and it ended up with me blundering the piece in the 14th move. So that's very unfortunate, not just because I lost, because I wasn't the favorite in the game. My player was rated 2300 rapid on Lichess, so much stronger than me. So I would probably lose anyway, but in this way I have deprived myself of a very interesting and possibly very instructive game. So I think it's a great shame that it ended like this, but okay, nevertheless I can get some lessons out of the game, and now I want to share with you the analysis of the game and also the lessons I have learned in this short but nevertheless in some moments instructive game. Okay, let's now get to the game and see how it went. Okay, so my opponent, like I said, much stronger player, 2300 on Lichess Rapid. He opened the game with b3. And well, now the first lesson or instruction on how to deal with this kind of unorthodox openings. So when your opponent throws at you something you don't know, you never saw before, or something unorthodox, the best way to deal with it is to play some kind of solid structure or system which you are familiar with. So you don't want to go into sharp lines, you don't want to go into some um, tactically rich game from the opening, because most likely if the player plays something like b3, he most likely knows many threats and many forcing variations in these openings. Maybe he learned it, or he just might know that from experience. So if you remember, 2 games ago I faced this kind of opening, which is not so unorthodox, but I never faced it. And then I applied the same principle, and I went for the Slav. I think it was a Slav formation. So something which is solid and something which I know how to deal with in the terms of structure. So here I applied the same logic. So after he played b3, I just went for some structure that I know. And also one another word of advice is don't play e4 in these kind of situations, because when he played b3, he allows me to play whatever I want. So he doesn't strike in the center, so the center is free, so I can play e4, I can play d4, I can go for some kind of I don't know, French structure or whatever. So I can do whatever I want. And I talked about it several times earlier. If you play e4, this calls for tactics, because this pawn is undefended. It immediately is targeted. So when he plays bishop to b2, immediately this pawn is targeted, and it can generate some tactics and attacks. So you don't want to play e5 here, but you want to play a solid move. So I played just d4. So this is general advice how to deal with this offset unorthodox openings. So this is how the game went. White played bishop to b2, and now I had several choices. What setup do I want to go with? And I decided I will go with some kind of Slav, semi-Slav, or reverse London, if you want. So I first. If you play the Slav structure, then your bishop is stuck. Also, if you play the Queen Goblet decline, again your bishop is stuck, and you're forced to sometimes to play these moves, because if your opponent is attacking the center, you have to support your pawn, and then you shut down your bishop. And since in this position my opponent is allowing me to play whatever I want, then I decided to free my light square bishop, which usually in the openings with d5, this piece is the most problematic piece to develop. Like I said, it's either a Slav or a Queen's Goblet declined or something, and this piece is always problematic. You have to try very hard to develop it. So this is why I played bishop f5, immediately developing. He played e3 now, and I played e6. So I'm just going for the reversed London. I will make this pyramid and put the pieces like in the London system. and it's basically Slav, but with the bishop outside the pawn chain. He played knight f3, and now at this moment you have to be aware if you play this kind of let's say LoneWolf setup with your bishop on f5 or f4 if you are white. So there is this motif of the attack. So once he played the knight, I have to think about that he can in the future try to undermine my bishop, because now usually when the game develops, this bishop is cannot be saved, so it can be only retreated, and then it will be captured, and I will lose the bishop pair. Of course, at this moment he cannot do this because, well, obviously, he'll just lose the piece. But you need to be aware of that possibility and prevent this possibility when it occurs. And it's prevented by playing h6, and then you have a safe square for your bishop. And this bishop is then very strong, especially if you see the pawn structure. It will be annoying. For your opponent. So you have to be aware of this, and at this moment I was aware of this threat, but you will see I forgot about it later in the game. Unfortunately, this was my first mistake. So here I played a knight to f6, and now he can now play knight to a4, but I'm not afraid of this because I can just play bishop to g5, attacking his queen, and well, what can he do now? He can either completely weaken his pawn structure or just retreat the knight. So at this moment, this knight a5 is not a threat. And now he played bishop e2. And now knight a5 is a threat. So now if he plays knight a5, I cannot escape, I cannot save the bishop. So I cannot now go here because it's hit twice. If I go here, he can just kick it away with a tempo, and then whenever I go, he can capture it. So in this position, knight a2 is a4 is a threat. And like I said, I forgot about. I was aware of this threat, and then just at one moment, I forgot about the threat. So in this position, so just developing according to the LoneWolf system structure. So your bishop goes to d6, knight goes here, and then the pawn goes here. And well, he immediately grabbed the opportunity. He played knight to h4. And well, now I missed my chance to play h6, and my bishop is will soon be off the board. So the correct move here was immediately when he played bishop e2 is just to play h6 and to have a safe haven for my bishop. Okay, but I didn't, and he played knight h4. And now I don't have much choice. I don't want him to capture here on f5, although in some structures it's okay. For example, if he captures, I recapture, and then I have this pawn structure which is not bad by itself, but in this position it's terrible because he has this very strong dark square bishop, and my dark squares would be very weak. But in some other positions, if this dark square bishop is somewhere else, or it can be exchanged, then this structure can be very good, especially against his light square bishop, because this is very strong structure, and it takes away a lot of light squares for his bishop. So in the absence of the dark square bishop, this would be a strong thing. But well, here it is not. So I have to play this bishop to g6. So if he captures, I can capture with some other pawn. He played c4 now. Now he is expanding to the queen side. And now I had several moves at my disposal. So one was just to castle, or just to develop the knight on d7, or just to play c6, or something like that. But I decided to, well, for some reason, to exchange this bishop for this knight. And well, this is the reason. I thought that maybe this knight, after the exchange, this knight will be misplaced. Not just misplaced, but also indirectly attacked. by the queen, and my pawn structure will be intact. So this is the reason why I decided, since I cannot save this bishop anyway, so I decided to exchange it with the b1 knight. So bishop takes b1, rook takes b1, and now I castled. Maybe the better move here was immediately knight to e4, and now with the tempo, because now I'm attacking his knight. And the knight belongs on e5 in this kind of structure, so maybe there are no reason why should I delay this move. So maybe this position, this move would be better. Anyway, I castled, he castled, I finally developed my knight b d7. Again, this move would maybe be better, and then I can bring my knight here if I want to f6. This comes with tempo, but anyway, I develop my knight, and he now plays d4. And now this d4 move is actually goes in my favor because it locks down the dark square bishop. So my goal here is to try to keep my pawn on d4, sorry, on d5, and thus blocking his d4 pawn, and thus blocking the bishop. So this is why here I played c6, and I think it's a good move because now this pawn is defended twice, and you can see that this is the typical reversed London setup. And well, now my d5 pawn is defended twice. This means that the pawn will stay here, and this pawn will stay here, and his bishop will be blocked. So I think this was a good move. He now finally retreats the knight f3. So he saves himself for the discovered attack. And he also aimed at this e5 square. Now you can see that well, now he can play maybe something like this, because now this knight is defended twice and it's attacked twice. So this can be a tricky thing to deal with. So this is why after he played the knight to f3, I played queen to c7. So this is a logical place to develop the queen, and also you can see that now I'm covering this e5 square. He plays queen to d3, now developing his queen, and this is in my opinion the place I made the biggest mistake. And it's not because some engine evaluation would tell you it's a mistake. It will probably not, and the move I played was probably not, objectively speaking, a bad move. But it is wrong because I violated my own principles of how to play chess. And maybe you have watched a few videos ago, I recorded a video how to properly play chess. I will link the video below. If you didn't see it, please go and check it out. I think this is a very useful video. And in this video I am talking about how to prepare for the attack or for the pawn break and so on. And in that video I'm talking about the right order of play. And this is first develop your pieces, put your pieces on the most active and best squares, and then look for pawn breaks, and then after the pawn breaks create weakness, and then after you create weaknesses, then you can attack. So the correct order of things is to, if there are no immediate obvious gain, you should first develop your pieces and then do pawn breaks. And you can see that these rooks doesn't do anything, and also there are some positional threats of him expanding more on the queen side. So the correct plan in this position, according to my own principles and according to what I was saying just a few videos ago, would be, well, for example, to play a5, just to block the expansion, further expansion on the queen side, and then to bring my rooks in. And then in this setup I should be thinking about how to break the position, and then maybe e5 break would be a good idea, because now it's overprotected by 4 pieces. Okay, so this is what I should have done, and this is what if I was analyzing some other man's game, and I saw that in this position he played e5 like I did, I would tell him that it's way too soon. So you don't do pawn breaks, especially if you are black. You don't rush for pawn breaks, but just develop your pieces, bring good setup, good coordination, and then do pawn breaks. Okay, and here I was lacking this kind of patience, and I was thinking of okay, why not just push e5 now? I have this protected 3 times. He has this attacked 3 times, so I'm safe here, and maybe I can even exchange bishops. So first I made an error, tactical error. I miscalculated the position because I was thinking about something like this. If I play e5, he cannot allow, of course, e4, so he has to take. And now if I take with the knight, I'm simultaneously attacking the queen and the knight. If he takes the knight, then I can take with the bishop and exchange this bishop, which is his strongest piece on the board. So this would be in my favor. And if he moves the queen, he can move the queen on f4. I saw this. Then I can grab the knight with a check. He has to capture, and then this pawn falls. So this is what I calculated with check. But then, so this was only played in my head. Okay, he moves here. And then I saw that now I have to move away my bishop because it will be trapped. So I have to move my bishop back. And then I didn't see, this was all played in my head, and I didn't see that this knight is now attacked twice and defended only once. So he has this very strong move, and then he takes my pawn, my king is open, and his bishop is here very strong. I think this is almost checkmate in several moves. So I didn't see this. But what I did see is that I will get isolated pawn here. So I saw that if he takes, I take. Okay, in fact I will lose this pawn. I'm not sure if I saw this, that I'm losing this pawn, but I saw that this pawn will be isolated. Okay, so this was my calculation, and it was wrong because I didn't see that this knight will fall in the end of the line. So this is the error I made in the calculation. And if you remember, I did see that this pawn will become isolated. So when he took the pawn, I was thinking, I didn't play this what I was calculating in the first, but I was thinking, can I insert some Zwischenzug or in between move, intermezzo, here in order to remove this pawn. So this pawn will be a weakness in the end of variation, how I saw it. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I can just take this pawn, and then if he decides to capture, I can capture. If he wants to capture more, no problem. He has to capture, and well, he cannot allow check, so he has to play here. I have to play here, and at the end of the line, it's okay for me. I have even a queenside majority, so this would be okay. So this is what I calculated in my head. Okay, and so it looked good for me. So all this sequence of captures, it looked okay, and I get rid of this weakness, and so I played this move, d takes c4, and now maybe you can see it already, or you have already seen this. This is a blunder, and this immediately loses the game, because when I move this pawn, he can just grab the bishop with his queen, and his queen is protected by this pawn. So I'm losing the piece here, I'm losing the bishop for nothing, and at this point I just resigned the game. So the game was decided in 14th move by my blunder, and like I said, I'm not so sad that I lost the game, because it is the most likely outcome given the strength of my opponent, but I am sad that I didn't play this game through the end, because it could be very interesting and very instructive game if it lasted longer. But okay, this is what happens in chess, and I got my lessons. So the most important lesson is patience, especially if you are black. Don't be impatient. Don't go opening position and making pawn breaks. And if you didn't develop your pieces, put your pieces in the right place, and this will be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel. Please leave the comment below, tell me what you think about the game. You will also find the link of the game below, and see you very soon with more chess. Cheers.